I can't even eat lunch anymore. When will it end? I mean, seriously, when does the pain end in regards to these injuries? I don't understand why we continue to have this happen. Who the hell pissed off the basketball gods to have Cleveland be dealing with so many injuries? In case you've been living under a rock, we just got the dreaded notification from Shams. I had to check if it was real or not, just because it just feels like things have been going so damn well lately that I couldn't help but not have to question it. By chance, if you didn't see it, here it is. Cleveland Cavaliers star James Harden sustained a fracture in his right thumb during Tuesday's win over the New York Knicks. Harden is undergoing further evaluations and treatment. I shit you not. It just feels like this team is always dealing with something. Again, like what did we do? What happened that pissed the injury gods off so much that this team feels like it's always dealing with something, whether that be an Evan Mobley injury, whether that be a injury to Darius Garland prior to the deal. And, obviously Garland's still not even playing for LA out there. Dean Wade, the list goes, Max Strus, the list goes on and on. It just feels like there's always something going on in regards to this team as it relates to injuries. We just have the worst luck this year. Like, sheesh. And I'm not going to sit here and overreact too much just because obviously the Cavaliers have more firepower available to them right now than they did to begin the season. But I'll tell you, this one just doesn't feel great because of how great the Harden era has gotten started. Like, they're 7-1 in the 8 games, I believe, or they're either 6-1. I think Harden's appeared in what, 7 games so far for the Cavaliers? Are we 7 games deep into the Harden experience for Cleveland? Yeah, it's 7. They are 6-1 in the Harden era, and they are 7-1 in the Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder era. So, I mean, it just feels like there's always something going on. Hopefully, this isn't one that renders him out for too long. Maybe it's a 1 to 2 week type of thing. I'm checking over with Cleveland right now to see if they have some type of status update. It looks like they do. It says Cavaliers guard James Harden injured his right thumb in last night's 109-94 win over New York. A post-game examination by the Cavaliers medical staff followed by x-rays taken today confirmed a non-displaced fracture of the distal phalanx. Harden will undergo treatment and continued evaluation and will be listed as questionable for tonight's game against Milwaukee. An update on his status will be provided as appropriate. So questionable, that's better than out. I mean, or doubtful, I suppose. Maybe this is one of those injuries that doesn't really have an effect on his ability to suit up. I don't know. Maybe I'm coping here a little bit, but it just feels like it just feels like it's never ending for these injuries. Seriously, I can't get it. I think he is left-handed, right? He is left-handed, so that is something that's important to bear mention here. So he should still technically be able to play with the injury, but it nevertheless may throw off his rhythm. I just hate to continuously see these types of things happen because the Cavs have been off to a phenomenal start in the Harden era. And that comes right after a really solid victory against the New York Knicks, where Harden, he attempts, what did he take? 18 shots last night, and he got 0 free throws. He's not getting the calls that he usually does against opponents. Now, again, I think context is obviously important. He's not driving the ball nearly as much as he had over in LA, about 3 fewer times per game, and the usage is down about 7-8%. But still, like, he is driving to the rim and he's not getting calls. He literally took 18 shots last night and got 0 free throw attempts, no continuation, no calls that simply resulted in anything else like that. It's ridiculous that all of these things are occurring right now. So you got the injury, you got the fact that he wasn't drawing calls before that, despite taking contacts. And one can't help but wonder when exactly this occurred during that game. But it was probably a foul that was not called. So this just lends further credence to the idea that maybe, just maybe, James Harden is not being officiated the same way that he once had. And you guys know I hate to perpetuate shit like that. But again, when you're seeing the injury play out, he got fouled. Like, at what point in the game did this occur, though? That's what I'm wondering, because there were no fouls called. Just it just feels unfortunate because it's been a very solid start from a statistical standpoint. Harden is averaging, after last night, 18.9 points, I believe 4.6 rebounds and 8 assists for the Cavs, while shooting a very efficient 49.4% from the field, which includes going 48.8% from three-point distance on much lower volume at just 5.9 attempts per game. So he is and has adjusted his play style a lot to fit next to the likes of Donovan Mitchell, who is a very high usage player in his own right. He is trying to figure out where to best involve Evan Mobley. He's developed a really solid chemistry with Jarrett Allen. And that right there might be the thing that pisses me off the most, because there had been an uptick of on possession standpoint where Allen was being involved. And again, the renaissance of Allen, just the uptick in terms of production from him, is not simply exclusive or mutually dependent on Harden in particular, because this was occurring before he got here, a couple games before. But since Harden's arrived, you have seen Allen be consistently involved, even if he's not taking shots on every single possession that Harden swings the ball his way. They're at least looking to include him on possessions that he wasn't being included upon prior to the acquisition. Because I love Donovan Mitchell, but Donovan Mitchell does not really throw great entry passes. He is not necessarily as efficient and skilled at running the pick and roll as Darius Garland had been. And you didn't have somebody who could consistently deliver the ball to where Jarrett Allen and the bigs like to be at. Also, in the chat right here, I do have to point this out. This is a good point. Owen from Ohio says, didn't he hit one guy in the face? Yeah, I think he actually, what was it, like a slap or almost it was kind of a slap of Jalen Brunson. Is that what it was? If that's what it was, I guess I got to kind of back down from where I was at in terms of the calls. But that's legitimately, because that was technically on Mitchell. He hit Brunson in the face, if I'm not mistaken. If that's what it was, then that's already unfortunate, because he's just out there trying to play defense, and he wasn't being wild or reckless when he did that. But that's the only thing, now that I think about it, that could have resulted in that broken thumb. But still, like, he played the rest of the game. But that does suck, because the team had started to develop somewhat of a chemistry, and this is potentially harmful to Jarrett Allen, who had been on such a great tear lately, with Harden continuing to feed him the basketball. It's not the end of the world. It's not all doom and gloom, because this does give you the opportunity to once again continue to elevate the likes of a Jalen Tyson. Maybe elect to start Don at the point again and place Jalen at the 2. Maybe you're starting Dennis Schroeder next to Donovan Mitchell, maybe even Keon Ellis out there at the 2. There's a couple of different options that you could choose from. Or Sam Merrill, right? Maybe you have Don at the 1, Sam at the 2, and you keep Jalen on the bench. Or there's so many different options. That's what I'm saying. But this is ridiculous. And I think that in regards to Donovan Mitchell in specific, I know that I think it's been reported that he's not playing tonight, which I completely understand, considering the fact that they play 5 and 7 essentially, and you have to factor in Detroit, which is that's the more important matchup, obviously, when you're fighting for seeding. But this is a blow, man. This one definitely sucks. I don't necessarily think that he is going to I don't think he's going to miss serious time or anything like that. He may not miss any time at all, maybe just 1 to 2 games, considering this is not his shooting hand. But the potential is always there. So we'll have to wait and see what Cleveland ends up saying in terms of the status updates. And I said this the last time I made one of these videos, and I think it was related to Max Strus and the update that we got about him. You already know it's going to be some bullshit that crosses your phone screen or wherever you log into social media app. When you see that gold status update stuff, it's never a good thing. Then you see the font, it's always a bad update, it feels like. Sometimes the timetable's put out there that the player is able to expedite the process on, but most of the time it's not, and you never truly know what's going on, and you're just left in the dark. And that's where we are right now with with Max Strus, right? We continue to get these updates with Max, and we don't really know what the fuck's going on with him. But hopefully, this isn't one that renders Harden out for too long. I do wonder though when that actually happened. If it did happen on that play and that sequence where he hit Brunson in the face, kind of inadvertently, that would suck. That would definitely suck. Finreek says, how long did Jarrett miss time with his broken thumb, making maybe we can expect the same for Harden? I see what you're trying to say. So I need to go back. I don't remember exactly how many games he missed, but I can go back in the good old game log and see if there's an actual kind of roadmap here that we can look at. So if you look at it was about 1, 2, 3. He tried to play against Atlanta, didn't really go all that well. I think sat again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So about 9 games, I think, give or take, that he missed over about a 2.5 week stretch, 2 to 3 weeks. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe we can expect him to be out, but it's not on his shooting hand, if I'm not mistaken. Harden's left-handed, right? And this is the right thumb. So I don't know. Maybe he won't, but we'll end up seeing. I think that you're going to see, you're going to end up seeing how quickly he can come back from something like this. And again, it very well may be the case that it necessarily does not actually take him out because of the hand that was sustained on. And he could potentially play through it. I just wonder how much that's going to impact him. And they're in a place right now where if you're dealing with something, you don't necessarily have to play through it. The Cavs have enough depth to afford guys the ability to kind of take some time to heal up. But I don't know, man. Chasedown says, wasn't the slap with the left hand? Honestly, I don't remember. I need to go back and watch that sequence. But that's the only thing hand related that I can think of where it could have rendered an injury sustained. So I don't know. Maybe it was on the drive to the rim. Maybe he got hit, or maybe his hand got put in a compromising position or something like that. Maybe it got slapped down on. We see these types of things happen from time to time, but I don't know exactly when it happened. All I know is that I don't necessarily think he should play through it. If he is given the opportunity to sit, I think he should sit, because one, you have a bunch of guard depth. Now, if this is the front court, if it was like Dean Wade or Evan Mobley or Jarrett Allen that was missing time, I'd be like, okay, maybe you consider doing that. But since you have Keon, since you have Sam, since you have Craig Porter Jr., since you have Dennis, right? Since you have Jalen, you have a whole bunch of names that you can play out there, and you could probably get away with Harden missing a few games. But you look at the schedule right now, we got Milwaukee tonight. That to me, that should be a W, but it's by no means a given, especially if Donovan Mitchell is not playing. Detroit, that's a very important game, especially for seeding purposes. Brooklyn, you got another game with Detroit. So you got 2 games against the number 1 seed in the East right now, in that of the Detroit Pistons. Milwaukee, as it stands, is the 11th seed. You should be able to win that one. It shouldn't be too difficult. Brooklyn, I mean, they really shouldn't be a threat. Boston, obviously the 2nd seed in the East. That's a game where you would want to have Harden available for. You got Philly, who is no slouch. They are the 6th seed as of right now. Orlando is a 7th seed in that play-in territory, but not an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. And then March 3rd, that would be the Dallas Mavericks. You got actually a home and home, I believe, with Dallas. You play in Dallas on the 13th, and then you play at home in Cleveland on the 15th, 2 days later. So there are some tough games here. This is coming during a stretch where you probably want to have Harden available for, but in the event that he does end up missing, I don't know, a week, 2, maybe 2.5 tops, you can probably manage. But the shitty part about it is that, like, literally the margin in terms of the seeding in the East is razor thin. It is so thin. After last night's victory, New York and Cleveland are tied at 37-22. Now, don't get me wrong. New York does hold the tiebreaker because they won the season series 2-1, even with last night's victory. But the margin is very small. The 5th seed right now is the Toronto Raptors. They're about 2.5 games back at Cleveland, and then Philly, they're about 5.5, 4.5 actually, I think. But you get what I'm trying to say. You drop a couple of games here and there, you could find yourself closing in on play-in territory because of how close seeds 2 through 6 are. There's not a lot of margin here. So you hope that Harden doesn't miss too much time. I don't think he will, but again, I don't know the future. We're going to have to see what ends up happening. And again, it is important to note this is coming on his non-shooting hand. He is left-handed, one of the best left-handers to ever do it. We'll end up seeing. Akuma Uzama says X-rays were negative, false info. I mean, I think I'm just going off of what we see with the status updates. And they're saying that it is a non-displaced fracture. So that's per Cleveland. And I think Shams is also ruled on this as well. So if the comment is in reference to is in reference to the status updates, that's literally 2 different sources saying that yes, it is actually a fracture. It is actually a fracture. So it's on the right thumb, not the left shooting hand. That's important to consider, but he still could miss some time. Let's see here. J47 says right thumb on left hand. Vincent Robinson says Cavs need new medical staff. This isn't a medical staff issue though, right? This is like one of those things that probably happen in the heat of the moment during a game inadvertently. But I mean, he plays a play style that usually does invite a lot of contact, although he's not driving to the basketball nearly as much as he did with the Clippers, but he still gets downhill. But it is still confounding and really frustrating to me that he's not drawing nearly as much contact, or he's not getting the whistle that he usually does with usually did rather with the Los Angeles Clippers. Since coming to the Cleveland Cavaliers, Harden is only attempting 4.3 free throw attempts per game. Ladies and gentlemen, that is by far the fewest free throw attempts that he has had. And again, it's a small sample size. It is the 3rd fewest of his career. You have to go back to the 2010-2011 season where Harden was coming off the bench for the Oklahoma City Thunder to find a season in which he was taking that few of free throws. He took 4.2 per game that season, playing just 26.7 minutes per game. And his rookie season, he took just 3.2, but down to just 4.3. And again, I understand like the context here is important to consider. He is not driving as much. He is having a lower usage, and that is all relative. But as of right now, I mean, it sucks. That's about as much as I can say. And in terms of that usage, he is averaging I think the 4th lowest usage, maybe the 4th or 5th lowest usage percentage of his career at 27.1%, which is in the 57th percentile among point guards in these 7 games for the Cavaliers. It hadn't been that low since his first season in LA, where he had the ball in his hands 25.2% of the possessions. So I say all this to say, like, all this context is important to consider, but you would think that if a guy is not generating as much generating as much contact and not getting as many free throws, that you would be able to tell when that injury happened. I don't know. I'm not worried. The depth should be able to sustain. This isn't like a torn meniscus or ACL or something like that, but it is kind of disappointing because the Harden era had gotten off to a great start. They are 6-1 with Harden at the helm. But now you get a chance to see more Jalen Tyson minutes. You get to see probably Craig Porter Jr. get minutes in the rotation once more. I know some people are kind of out on Craig. I'm not necessarily feeling that way. You get to see more Dennis. You get to see more Keon. You get Sam getting his usual complement of minutes. You got a lot of different lineup variations and combinations you can go with. And that's still exciting. That's one positive. But I think at this point in time, the Cavaliers would much rather have a healthy roster and success in the playoffs than they would in the regular season. So let's hope that Harden just misses I don't know, 2-3 games tops, and then he's back out there. But even if he ends up missing 2-3 weeks, I'm okay with that as well, just because I think the team is in a much better standpoint right now, a much better place from a depth standpoint than they were entering the year. I brought this up on the stream that I did with Spencer Davies a little earlier on today, but something that does warm my heart, because I know that you are missing an element of dribble penetration and rim pressuring without Harden out there. It does bear mention that in the 8 games that we have seen Dennis Schroeder, he has actually driven the ball more total times than Lonzo Ball did all of this season that he was a Cavalier, which is absolutely crazy to me when you really think about it. He's been here 8 games and he's already driven the ball more than Lonzo ever did. So you know that Keon will be able to help in this regard too, but you know that Dennis Schroeder will also be able to help kind of balance things out, because without Harden out there, you do lose somebody who is able to generate pressure on the rim and open up some cutting lanes and open up some of the spots on the outside for shot makers. But I think that Dennis is definitely going to be helpful in this regard. Again, he's driven 55 times in these 8 games, and he has attempted 26 shots already. That is also more than Lonzo did the entire season here. Well, not an entire season, but you understand what I'm saying. His entire time here. Just crazy to me that we didn't get more out of Lonzo in that regard. He drove the ball just 52 times and attempted just 10 shots in his time here. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But Dennis, he's used to this. He will probably end up factoring in here largely. Whether or not he starts, that's a question for Kenny Atkinson. But considering the fact that in Sacramento, he made 14 starts and was averaging 26.4 minutes per game, he is more than capable of handling he's handling load here. Kaima Cavelli says, and not to take away your points, we got to play the Pistons twice, and they are a very physical team. So I think we sit Harden, and so disappointed me. Yeah, I think they definitely will end up sitting James Harden. I don't think they should. I think I mentioned already, I don't want him to play through it if it's possible for him to do so. We have that versatility. We have the depth now to facilitate him sitting some games and taking the cautious approach. But I'm really curious to see what the timeline here is. Smelly Garage Fluid says, no, not Harden my GOAT. J47 says the Pistons got to play us twice. They do have some dogs on their team. I agree, Vincent Robinson. Brent Burt says false info. Not sure what that's in reference to. I thought we already clarified the injuries. It actually has happened. Svenrik says, I do agree this medical staff has no clue. Like, they have no clue what is going on with Max Strus. All I can say in regards to Max is that I do believe that he is coming back. I don't know when. I don't know necessarily if that's a medical staff issue or if they're literally just playing it cautiously with Max. I know that Spencer kind of gave an update on that on the live stream earlier, and we have seen little things pop up here and there for Max in regards to what he has been doing in terms of getting back to the court. But I think they are just playing it very, very cautiously with Max too, and you don't really need to force him back out there. We have seen how that plays out time and time again. Little Man OG says, next up, Dean Wade and Merrill will be injured again soon as usual. Why the fuck would you say that? Don't put that in the atmosphere. Don't do that. Come on. Don't do that. Pee-wee Burnt Pizza says, why is it a medical staff issue when players are trying to come back, but the organization is being cautious? Again, I don't think that's medical staff related. I literally think that's just the team saying, hey, Max, like, slow down. We don't need to force you back out there. You can take your time. But again, I'm not going to act like I said, I'm not going to act like I know. I'm just assuming, just like we all are here. Yeah, we are playing Milwaukee tonight, and I believe that game is actually taking place in Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. That's at 8:00 tonight. I honestly, when I woke up today, I completely forgot that it was a back-to-back. So a lot more content to be pushed out, more live streams, yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. But from a content standpoint, this is easy money for me, but I hate to see this happen because it's happened too frequently this season. You've seen it with Jarrett. You've seen it with Max. You've seen it with Darius. You've seen it with James. You've seen it with Wade. You've seen it with Jalen. You've seen it with Sam. Literally everybody on this roster has dealt with something, even Donovan Mitchell at points. It's been everybody. It's been crazy. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, NBA says, so is Harden out or questionable? Now, I know that the official Cavaliers status report lists him as questionable. If you go to the NBA.com injury report, which I'm doing right now, I'm willing to venture that they are likely reporting the same thing. That's the official report that gets dropped every 15 minutes or so. Cleveland, on their current injury report, lists James Harden's questionable. They got him questionable. They got Donovan Mitchell is out. They have Evan Mobley. Damn, they got everybody out, I feel like. Evan Mobley's out. Max Strus is out. Donovan Mitchell is out. James Harden is questionable. And then you got the two ways, because obviously they're two ways. Darius Brown, Tristan Enaruna, Riley Minix. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are going to be out tonight. Just take that for what it's worth. Dearma says, saw that thumb taped mid-game. Didn't seem like an issue. Maybe just like a cautionary thing. Obviously, they're going to report this. They have a duty to do so. But again, I have no problem as long as they're being cautious with him. Stop Filtering Comments says, a lot of these injuries are more frequent post-COVID. The vaccine shot has caused their muscle and bone tissues to be sensitive beyond the immune system. These long-term effects are being totally benched. I'm not qualified to comment on that. I haven't done the research on what the long-term effects of that are, so there's not too much insight I can provide on that. That's all I can say. Kareem says, good thing Harden is left-handed. This is true. He could play if necessary. Pee Wee Burnt Pizza says, hate to see Harden out because this game is the one where we could have been a high usage and scored 30+. Milwaukee is the favorite in this matchup, says Vincent Robinson. J47 says, no wonder his name is Stop Filtering Comments. Yeah, exactly right. No disrespect, but yeah, that's one of those ones where I won't touch that one with a 10-foot pole. Neverbloom says, Brett Siegel posted this based on what the Cavs said. This is a fracture near the tip of his right thumb. His availability seems like it will be a pain tolerance issue. This seems very close to Jarrett Allen, because Jarrett Allen tried to play through that shit. And I had the conversation with Spencer earlier too, in reference to this. People weren't giving that enough attention, or they were throwing that context out the window as it relates to his play during that stretch of games. So yeah, James may indeed try and play through this injury, but to be honest with you, I don't think it's necessary if you can help it. So you may have to try and find him some built-in rest days. And if that comes in the form of him missing some actual time, then I'll survive, just like you guys will. But I don't know. I'm tired of this shit happening. If you're still here by chance, do your boy a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber to the It's Cavalier podcast. Do the same for Positive Hooper, all that good stuff. If you want to support the show in a small but helpful way, you already know what to do. Become a member over on Patreon or YouTube for as little as $1 a month. Sacrifice that coffee you get every day and help your boy out. Either way, I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Go Cavs.